Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Katari, what's up, my friend? What's up, chat? I hope everybody had a good weekend. Oh, man. Always too fast, right? Weekends are always too fast, man. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be here, as always. Day 11 of The Witcher. Yeah, day 11 of The Witcher 3. As always, before we hop into that, yo, Soldier, what's up, buddy? Let's go ahead and do what we do. Let's get into this video gaming news segment, all right? So what we got? Cool. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let me fix this camera real quick. That should work. 11 days till Xenoblade. Yeah, Katari. Super pumped, huh? Dude, I hope it's good. I hope it's good, man. I know you've been anticipating for a hot minute now. Yeah, man. Um, you've been playing through the previous ones, right? Uh, Waiting on the new one to come out. Yeah. I mean, you had played them previous to that though, right? Oh, I've been doing GTA RP. Maybe game of the year. Um, this is what I'll say. uh, Game of the year for you, or you mean like consensus game of the year around the gaming industry? If you mean game of the year for the gaming industry, I think that's already been locked down. To be honest, and it's not my. I don't think it's going to be my choice, but I think consensus game of the year. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean that we talk about that a lot. Um, the and I'll finish saying what I was going to say. The thing about us being humans that is amazing is that we have different preferences and things like that. Views on things and otherwise it'd be a very dull world, right? It'd make things very boring. Um, what I'll say is that because of Elden Ring, I think it's going to be very hard for any other game to take over Game of the Year. And I was not a huge fan of Elden Ring. So just because of, I think there was so much hype. Nintendo's Game of the Year, yeah, I would say that would probably be a safe bet. But Game of the Year across the gaming industry, I think there's already been a huge lock on that for Elden Ring. And I've been a pretty big critic of Elden Ring, to be honest. It's not going to be my choice. I can tell you that. Um, so I just think that there's so much there are so many fans of From Software games that feel like they can't do anything wrong. And while there was a lot of good content in Elden Ring, there was a lot that they did not do very well in that game, as far as I'm concerned, as well. And their PC port was terrible. Um, yeah, I mean, uh, but it's just because of the state of what the gaming industry is in, how much clout just a developer and their track record pulls along with it, right? Like From Software's does. And again, Elden Ring had some good content in it. It was definitely an evolution for Soulsborne games, for open world and things like that. And they did do some things very well. They overlooked a ton of things, in my opinion. But it not there. It was just constantly full of tens out of tens, and stuff like that. And I could not disagree more with that. But it is what it is. And as far as that's concerned, I think it's going to be very hard to knock that game off of Game of the Year, just because of how much clout it has, um, for how many people felt like it did nothing wrong. And I'm not that person. That's just the way I see it. You know what I mean? I wasn't a huge fan of it, but that's just the way I see. I have perceived most people view Elden Ring. So, but I do hope Xenoblade's very good, dude. I think yeah, quite possibly could be Nintendo's game of the year. Yep. We'll just have to see how it is when it comes out for sure. Yep. 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 Let's get in this. We talked about that. We talked about this. GTA 6 might be codenamed Fireball. Okay. The Zelda Ocarina of Time PC port now runs on Mac. RE Netflix series will 100% feature a major, I think, game event from season 2. Let's take a look. PS Plus getting over 50 free games from Ubisoft. Random mode time, guys. Let's go. It's morphin' time. Everybody, you're looking for that Lil Z emote. Yeah, we'd already read about this. Nice, Katari. We'd already read about this. The PlayStation's acquisition of Bungie has completed, right? So Bungie is officially part of PlayStation and Sony. And Destiny 2 is going to continue to be multi-platform. Difference being, if you're playing it on PlayStation, you will continue to get some exclusive items, exclusive access to certain content based on playing it on Sony's platform, right? And we'll continue to see what exactly that content is as we move forward after this acquisition. Talked about that. So Nintendo has basically TLDR. Nintendo has committed to basically dropping a new N64 game for their Switch Online roughly every single month. Yeah, so that's what you have to look forward to for Switch Online. Um, I don't think it meant that they're dropping a game. I think what it was saying was that season 2 of their season, because I guess they're already planning on making season 2 for the series that they just dropped. And there, I think what the article was stating, and we'll read into it. I think what that article is stating is that there's a major part of season 2 that has to do with the story from the games. I think that's what it was saying. Not that they're dropping a game for the series. Yeah. I will say, I tried to watch it. I tried to watch it, and it was just like, bleh. Yeah. I tried watching some of it. It did not. I don't know. I don't know, Katari. I don't know, man. I'm not sure why they do that, but I think it's affecting them greatly at this point. Yeah. I mean, as we've talked about a lot here recently, Netflix is definitely dying with their subscription service, their TV movie service. It has declined substantially with subscribers and has led to them trying to pivot into the video gaming industry. and which I mean, there are many other platforms throughout the entertainment industry that weren't previously into gaming that are trying to get into gaming because it's very very lucrative right now. And I don't know. I don't know why they do that, but I think there's a culmination of a lot of things that have happened with Netflix that have led to them being in this situation they find themselves in right now. But that is potentially one of them for sure. Yeah, we read about this yesterday. Tesla's going hard on integrating Steam into their cars, into their vehicles, right? So apparently, there's going to be a showcase happening in the not too distant future here where Tesla's going to be showing off Steam integration in their cars. So, as we find out more about that, we'll read more into it. We read about it yesterday, and so I'm not going to dive more into it right now until we get some more substantial information about when that showcase might happen and things like that. We'll hold off. Intel Raptor Lake flagship CPU leaked gaming benchmark. All right, let's take a look. We read about this yesterday as well. PlayStation Store monopoly lawsuit dismissed by court. Basically, what this was has to do with the fact that there are no more third-party retailers able to sell digital download codes or digital purchase codes for PlayStation Store software. So PlayStation basically made it to where any kind of software that you want to purchase and play on their platform, on PlayStation's platform, has to be purchased through them. There are a lot of individuals going, this is anti-competitive. They tried to follow through with a lawsuit, and the I think it was a Supreme Court judge that oversaw this case shot it down. Basically said they didn't have enough information on the part of the plaintiffs to say that it was actually anti-competitive. It seems very anti-competitive. It does, but I don't know. There wasn't a lot of details in it either, so I'm guessing we will probably see some more about this coming, and we'll keep track of it. We'd read about that a while back. Steamforged Games acquires Rivet Wars IP. Okay. Read about this yesterday as well and gave my thoughts on this. We're actually playing a CD Projekt Red game right now in The Witcher 3, and I can tell you that my experience with The Witcher 3, while it has been very good overall, there is some really janky, buggy clunkiness in the game, and the game has been out for 7 years now, roughly, something like that. Um, so after getting my hands on The Witcher 3 and then obviously knowing what the state of Cyberpunk 2077 was when it came out, um, it feels like one of those scenarios where, from a developer, what we always want to see is a developer do better, right? Learn from their past and develop a better product moving forward. And it seems like what they did was get worse. It seems like instead of taking lessons learned from their previous games and move forward and create a better product with Cyberpunk, what they did was saw what they got away with The Witcher 3 and thought that they could get away with even more with Cyberpunk, is what it looked like. That's what it seems like to me, anyways. And as a result, their stock has plummeted significantly. So my hope would be, for the sake of Witcher fans, that, and maybe this is a blessing in disguise, my hope would be that for Witcher fans, they actually do take lessons learned here from Cyberpunk. They reassess, get back to their basics, actually go, we can't move forward like this. We've got to start creating better products. And they do something really great with Witcher 4. Thank goodness that Cyberpunk wasn't The Witcher 4. That would have really, really sucked, in my opinion. Even though Cyberpunk is in a better state now, it's still, it will and will always be known as one of the more terrible releases in the gaming industry. And they at the same time, there are things that they promised were going to be part of the game that they are now they're shutting down and are saying they are not going to be part of the game and everything moving forward. So I don't know. We hit on it yesterday. If you're interested, take a look at yesterday's news segment on YouTube. Okay, you'll get a better look at what this article had to offer, and we talk a bit more about it. Okay. Yeah, they've done some amazing things with Ocarina of Time here lately. We already have an article up about it, so we'll read that one. The one we already have up. All right, let's pivot here. What's up, gamer? How are you, buddy? PlayStation owners can get Stray for free this week. I want to play Stray very bad. It looks like a really cool game. I'm gonna skim this real quick. Best video game soundtracks ever. Let's take a quick skim of that and see what we can gather from the list that they've thrown in there. Read about that yesterday again. Tesla's incorporating Steam into their vehicles. $2 million, most expensive video games ever. Oh, if I knew back then what I know today, uh, I would have bought so many cartridges and just not touched them. Doing okay? Word. Yo, you're on holiday, right? You got a good, nice vacation going on right now, yeah? Yeah, we already talked about Bandai Namco got hacked. They had a data breach. So I'm surprised we haven't already seen some of what was gathered from that hack. I expect us to get some info coming up on what was gathered out of that, or for the hackers themselves to start releasing information about what they got sometime fairly soon, probably. Maybe not though. I don't know. Look, excuse me. Yeah, we talked about Soul Frame yesterday as well, which is going to be the new MMORPG developed by the devs of Warframe. So we watched the trailer yesterday. It's just a cinematic right now, but Warframe is a pretty awesome game. I played it pretty early on. I'm talking, man, 2014, 2015 time frame. Played Warframe pretty early on, and I had a great time with it. But I didn't stick with it. I always have so many other games I want to play. I think I dabbled in it a little bit after that, just to see what was going on with it, and still had a good time with it. But I just didn't ever stick with it. Um, so I have high hopes for Soulframe. I hope they do a good job with it, and we'll continue to keep tabs on it as we move along here. We've got that pulled up. We'll go one more page here real quick. Fallout TV show set images teased major Fallout 3 callback. Okay. Let's take a look. Retro video games are a waste of everyone's time and money. We'll read that real quick. Worldwide PC market had sharpest decline in 9 years. Take a look at that real quick too. Okay, let's go with this. GTA 6 might be codenamed Fireball according to actor resume. Rockstar looks to be keeping things firmly under wraps. GTA 6 could have multiple codenames. A recent addition to an actor's resume suggests. As spotted on Twitter, actor Natanya Monet recently added the character Tamara from Fireball video game to her resume. According to the actor's past works, Fireball is being made by Rockstar Games, but the project mysteriously vanished from the resume site just a few hours after it was initially discovered. With help from the Wayback Machine, we can see that Monet's resume did include Project Fireball as of July 15th. It was previously thought that GTA 6's codename was Project Americas, but it's Possible that the high-profile project could have multiple code names to keep the game firmly under wraps. Unclear why Fireball video game was removed from Monet's resume, but it's most likely that Rockstar doesn't want any info about the upcoming game to be released ahead of time. This isn't the first time an actor has accidentally let slip a small detail about GTA 6. Last August, actor and musician Dave Jackson shared on Facebook that he has been cast as Police Chief Captain McClane in the upcoming game. It would be safe to assume that considering the voice acting stage of development is fairly early on, we still have a way to go until GTA 6 is due to release. In fact, a leaker has claimed it might not be here before the end of 2024. Yeah, in other GTA 6 news, which we've already talked about this, but I'll hit on it. Rockstar recently said that GTA 6 needs to be the best it can possibly be, quote unquote, following the announcement that Red Dead Online will no longer be receiving major content updates, so the team can focus on the next Grand Theft Auto title. It's also been recently revealed by a leaker that the GTA 6 engine is apparently ahead of its time. Okay. And I'm still awake at the same time. Well, that's the way it works for us, doesn't it, gamer? Quite often. I mean, even, you know, on the very, very rare occasion where I might not be streaming at my normal time or might be away, so I'm not streaming for a day or whatever. It's hard for me to sleep in. It's just the way it is. Quite often we build up those internal alarms, man, and we get very used to our sleep schedules and things like that. So just happens, dude. It's funny though. I remember being like a teenager, man, and just being able to sleep all the time, man. I mean, I stayed up a lot too. I stayed up a lot too, man, but I could also just like sleep till I could sleep a lot. I could sleep a lot. There was recovery. There was a lot of recovery needed as a teenager. The Zelda Ocarina of Time PC port now runs on Mac and Wii U. A sizable number of improvements have also hit the port. Hardware Masters has released a new Nintendo Direct style presentation filled with information about the updates, fixes, and additions to its fan made The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time port for PC. The video, which you can watch below, was uploaded to the Ship of Harkanian YouTube channel on July 14th, and it showcases exactly what players can expect to be changing about the PC port of the Adventure Classic. Some of the biggest updates are how the entire port can now run on both Mac OS and Wii U, and you can select the number of frames you wish to render as well. Individual settings can control the game's difficulty. Link can use a shield whilst holding a two-handed sword. You can see the vision pathing of guards. Time moves on the file select screen. The heads-up display can be edited. A cheat lets you use items anywhere in Hyrule, and another stops opponent from getting fatigued. The bunny hood can be used as an adult, and a number of tasks can be sped up in the game as well, including some quests. There are also a series of quality of life improvements as well, like the ability to hold more Deku nuts. You can bind player controls via a graphical interface, and the D-pad can also be used to equip items on top of the usual yellow C buttons. A previous update to the port added both Linux support and 60 frames per second availability as well, as Hardware Masters has continued to support the project since it was initially released. That's awesome, man. They just keep increasing like what this port can do. It's pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no doubt, Katari. Yep. There was a lot of play hard, rest hard for me as it were as a teenager, man. I went hard. I went hard for what has happened here. Why do I have so many? That's weird. That was really weird. I had a bunch of bookmarks that got put up there from gaming news. Odd. Resident Evil Netflix series will 100% feature a major game character in season 2. Yeah, that's what I thought this was getting at. It wasn't. It wasn't about them incorporating a new game or anything regarding the series. It was about them featuring a character from the game series. We had already kind of hit on the fact that this series didn't necessarily follow any of the game storyline, but it has definitely touched on some of the more prominent figures in some of the games, a bit of roundabout story line stuff and things like that. So to know that, I guess to know that they're doing a season 2, even though it seems like people are not enjoying, is kind of a surprise. Um, but yeah, they're gonna feature a major game character in season 2. So, um, yo, so did I, Soldier. Yeah, I tried starting it couple of days ago, and I tried turning it on as I was like going to sleep, and I passed out right away. Um, but I'll do that quite. I don't put much stock into like being able to stay awake and watch a show. Quite often, I'll just turn on something while I pass out, anyways, and I'll fall asleep fairly quickly, no matter what I turn on. Um, so I didn't really take that as, oh, this is a bad show. But I started watching it. Yeah, me too, Soldier. Yeah, I started watching it yesterday. I watched a couple of episodes yesterday, and I don't know. I got like two to three episodes in while I was doing some other stuff, and I was like, man, this is not very good. And I just turned it off. I gave it a pretty good shot there. I gave it a pretty good shot, and I was like, yeah, I'm not real impressed with this, so I just kind of turned it off. I don't know. And apparently that falls right in line. And I hadn't really seen anything before yesterday regarding what other people had thought of the show, so that didn't really influence my perception of it at all. The only thing I had seen was really had to do with how much of the show had followed any of the game story and stuff like that. That was it. So I don't know, but apparently consensus out there is that it's pretty terrible. The first season, yeah, I don't know. We're not gonna spoil this or anything. Uh, Showrunner Andrew Dabb has now confirmed that all roads are leading to Ada, telling Screen Rant she will 100% appear in a second season, which hasn't been confirmed as of writing. Uh, it might not be too long until we hear about the season renewal. However, the series has dethroned Stranger Things season 4 and is currently sitting pretty at the top of the Netflix charts, despite being one of the streamer's most poorly received video game adaptations to date. For the most part, RE has sidestepped any major ties to the source material. Has, however, answered the question on how Wesker survived the events of RE5. Uh, Namely, he didn't. Wesker was replaced by one of his clones, naturally. Yeah. I think this is the thing that's really funny is that the series has dethroned Stranger Things season 4 and is currently sitting pretty at the top of the Netflix charts. I think all that has to do with is how many people have actually started watching the show. Right? That's what puts something up on Netflix's charts as like one of their top shows currently. It's not the rating of the show on their platform. It's how many people have started watching it or whatever. And it's being rated terribly. A lot of people have tried watching it, but it's being rated terribly, I think. So that's something to take into consideration there. And I can tell you, I was not impressed. It was very blah to me. It was not very entertaining. It did not hold my attention very well. So I don't know. Give it a shot if you want, but I would say overall it seems like it's not a very entertaining show. I didn't enjoy it. It seems like other people aren't enjoying it. I would be really surprised if they went season 2 on it, to be honest. Sony has announced that PS Plus will be getting over 50 free games from Ubisoft in the coming months. Just a few weeks back, the new revision of PS Plus finally kicked in, which means that more games across both PS4 and PS5 are available to those subscribed to the premium and extra tiers of the service. Prior to the end of 2020, subscribers to those versions of PS Plus will be getting a massive influx of Ubisoft titles. Outlined in a new post on the PlayStation blog, Ubisoft detailed that it's planning to add even more games to its Ubisoft Plus Classic service down the road. Currently, the service is one that is also available to PS Plus Premium and Extra members, and it features 27 games in total. By the end of 2022, though, Ubisoft has made clear that over 50 games will be available, although we don't yet know what all of them will be. Oh, did you? Cool, soldier. Ubisoft Classics initially launched with 27 Ubisoft titles, including AC Valhalla, The Division, and For Honor, as well as classic games like The Child of Light, Far Cry 3, Blood Dragon, Watch Dogs, and Werewolves Within, with plans to expand the library to include over 50 titles by the end of 2022. Ubisoft said of its plans to grow this service. In the coming week, Ubisoft confirmed that it would begin expanding Ubisoft Plus Classics even further with the addition of some beloved AC titles. On Tuesday, July 19th, PS Plus subscribers, so tomorrow, PS Plus subscribers will gain access to AC, the Ezio Collection, AC Black Flag, AC Unity, and AC Rogue Remastered. In total, this lineup contains 7 games, which is quite an impressive way to bolster PS Plus that much more in the near future. Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Yeah, it seems like so far it seems like people are enjoying PlayStation Plus. They're making some good moves, and we'll keep track, man, and see what people continue to think. I think that was the big question: was how are they going to line up with? Because Microsoft has done so well for such a long time, right? In that space of being a video game subscriber service. And PlayStation finally getting into the mix as a competitor was going to be how are they going to line up with what Microsoft is offering? And it seems like a lot of people are really enjoying what they're doing, and we'll just have to see if they continue to provide quality content to keep people in that service. It's been very, very lucrative for Microsoft, that's for sure. All right. Oh, cool, soldier. Right on. I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. That's awesome. I know that Gamer's been enjoying it as well. Gamer switched over as soon as it came out from having Game Pass and has been enjoying it as well. Intel Raptor Lake flagship CPU leaked gaming benchmarks are causing some concern. Shouldn't jump to conclusions about the Core i9. Intel's Raptor Lake flagship CPU has seen some further leaked benchmarks. Unlike the previous spillage, this is a juicier affair because they're actual gaming tests. The game benchmarks come from the same source on Chinese video sharing website Bilibili, who provides results for the likes of Cinebench and Geekbench recently, as flagged up by Harukaze on Twitter. Again, this is an engineering sample of the Core i9, which is compared to its predecessor. So this is the 13900. Predecessor was the 12900. We have to bear firmly in mind that it's a pre-release chip. Also, be very cautious about any leaked benchmarking anyway. Bearing those caveats in mind, across a selection of games, including some popular titles like Red Dead 2 and Horizon Zero Dawn and PUBG, the 13900 turned out to be about 5% faster for average frame rates at 1080p res, around 7% quicker at 1440p, and 3% better at 4K. The rough upshot of this is around a 5% increase for gaming performance compared to the 12.9, which feels rather disappointing on the face of it. Plus, power usage is considerably cranked up for this 13.9, which sees the Raptor Lake chip hit 150 watts to 160 watts, when the 12.9 sits at more like 120 to 140 watts. Okay. I'm not... okay. Reasons to be cautious. There are plenty of them. Not the best look for the incoming processor. Shouldn't jump to any conclusions here. Realistically, we'd expect more of an increase for a new gen of CPUs than this. We're likely to get exactly that for a number of reasons. This is a pre-release sample, okay? The finished processor will probably be faster. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that has to do with optimization for these new chips and everything, BIOS being optimized, chipsets, drivers, things like that. So as these actually start to roll out and things become a bit more optimized for these chips to run better, we'll see probably an increase all the way across the board. And we will get a better look at what this has to offer, the 13900, as the chips start rolling out, and especially as they hit the western side of the hemisphere, western side of the world here. And we're not just taking in information from like China, because that's about all we've been getting right now is information from China as well, right? So as we get the chips out here in the West as well, and we get a lot of the more notable benchmarking and testers here within the, Europe and the States and stuff like that, they get their hands on it. We'll get a more comprehensive look as to what these new Intel chips have to offer as well. So there's a lot. Does that work? Wake your wild. What's up, dude? But a thing to keep in mind, and they touch on it down here, is that AMD has new chips coming out too. And these are their 3D chips, which are boosting like an insane amount of level 3 cache memory. And they are supposed to be very, very, very good gaming processors. So we are going to have to also see how Intel stacks up against AMD's new chips as well. Dang, bro. I was just riding around in my lifted Prius and now I'm all flushed. What's up, dude? Oh, man. Steamforged Games acquires Rivet Wars IP. Steamforged Games has announced that it has acquired the rights for the out-of-print tabletop game Rivet Wars. Earlier this week, Steamforged Games announced that it had acquired the popular but out-of-print tabletop game Rivet Wars, which combined World War I style fighting with chibi aesthetics. The game was originally designed by Ted Terranova, a video game designer responsible for Rise of Nations, Age of Empires 3, and Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. Having been published by Rivet Wars was inspired by real-time strategy games and focused on players continuously collecting resources and deploying new units to try and stay ahead of their opponents. Several expansions for Rivet Wars were released, adding heavy artillery, aircraft, and even mech-inspired combat armor. Cool. I was captivated by Rivet Wars on its original release, said Matt Hart, SFG co-founder and COO. The world of Rivet is such a fun and exciting place, and we have huge plans for where we can take the original concept. We want to develop the game in an exciting and unique direction that original fans will love, but will also capture the imagination of new fans alike. No plans for Rivet Wars were immediately announced by Steamforged, but it seems likely that some sort of revival is on the horizon. This is the second IP purchased by Steamforged in recent weeks. They've also announced that they've purchased Euthia, Torment of Resurrection, with plans to launch a canceled crowdfunding campaign at the end of the month. Steamforged has been building up its portfolio of original IP in recent months following the successful launch of Bardsong. The publisher has traditionally published licensed board games of video game franchises like Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Horizon Zero Dawn. But they also have a growing RPG line that makes D&D 5e compatible material. Cool. If you're interested in some of those links, here you go. There you go, man. PlayStation owners can get Stray for free this week, even without a paid PS Plus sub, dude. Sony has quietly added a 7-day trial offer. This is awesome. Some PlayStation owners will be able to play this week's new wave of PS Plus games, including Annapurna Interactive Stray, for free, even if they don't pay for a subscription. That's thanks to a 7-day membership trial for the new PS Plus that's been quietly added for new users on PlayStation's website, as spotted by XGP. By navigating over to the PlayStation site, users can sign up for a 7-day free trial of any PlayStation Plus tiers, including the top premium tier, which includes access to a catalog of 400 PS4 and PS5 games, as well as a selection of PS1, PS2, PS3, and PSP games. On Tuesday, it is not. No. Nope. On Tuesday, extra and premium members will get day one access to Annapurna's Stray, meaning that new members will effectively be able to download and complete the game for free using the trial. Credit card is required to sign up for the free trial, and currently the free trial offer appears to only be available in Europe. Users can cancel their subscription at any time, whether at the end of the trial period or at the end of the period for which they have already paid. In addition to Stray, from July 19th, PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members will be able to play Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrated, Marvel's Avengers, 5 Assassin's Creed games, and 2 Saint Row titles. PS Plus Premium members will also gain access to 2 more classic games on the same date. PSP titles, No Heroes Allowed, and Loco Roco Midnight Carnival. No, Stray Dude is going to be on Steam. Yeah, I think it's on a lot of platforms, actually. Hold on. Okay, so it is PlayStation and PC. PlayStation and PC, dude. Yep. PlayStation and PC. So they've already got it up on like Steam, I think. Yeah. It's actually 10% off right now. So you can grab it for like $27. Starting tomorrow. Do we put Witcher 3 on hold? Do we put Witcher 3 on hold and play Stray tomorrow? It looks adorable. I've been following this game for a hot minute, man. And I'm really excited to see it come out. You want to be a cat? Yeah. You're a cool cat to me, buddy. Best video game soundtracks ever. We're just gonna skim this real quick, okay? Transistor, Persona 5, Jet Set Radio, dude. Risk of Rain 2, Katamari Damacy, A hot minute? That's a good question. A hot minute is longer than a cold minute, but shorter than 2 hot minutes. If that makes sense. That's about the best I can give you. Uh, Minecraft, Dark Souls. There you go. That's what they're giving us for best video game soundtracks ever. If you're interested. Gamer, good question, gamer. Fallout TV show set images tease major Fallout 3 callback. Amazon's upcoming TV series based on the Fallout video game franchise seems like it will feature a notable callback tied to Fallout 3. At this point in time, Amazon and Bethesda have remained pretty quiet about what Fallout will have in store, which has led fans to wonder which game the show will most predominantly be based on. With filming now preparing to start, though, it seems more likely that Amazon is pulling from Fallout 3 as a major source of inspiration. NHL 2004 soundtrack. There are a lot of great soundtracks out there, actually. A lot. A lot, a lot. Within recent days, the first images from the set of Fallout have started to hit the internet. At this point, there isn't a whole lot to make out, but the set in question that has been shown is that of a Super Duper Mart. For those unaware, Super Duper Mart is a grocery store chain that first made its appearance in Bethesda's Fallout 3. Later made a return in Fallout 4. It's worth noting that the version of the grocery chain has been shown in these images is modeled more after the iteration that is seen in Fallout 3. Check that out. Cash will argue, yeah, Willie, yeah. You really fell in love with Tunic, huh? Super Duper Mart. Check that out. Based on this set alone, it seems based on this set alone, it seems very likely that Fallout 3 is being used as one of the primary sources of inspiration for the forthcoming show. Given that the TV series likely isn't based on any one game in particular, though, there's a good chance that we could see references and callbacks to many landmarks seen throughout the entire video game franchise. Time will only tell if this proves to be true, but with production now beginning, we should start to learn more in the coming weeks and months. For now, Amazon's Fallout TV series doesn't have a launch window of any sort, but given that filming is now kicking off, an arrival at some point in 2023 could be feasible. Be sure to stay tuned to our coverage here on comicbook.com. Yeah, for future coverage. All right. 100% his style of game, yeah. The whole minute used in conversation makes no sense to me. If I haven't spoke to someone in a couple weeks, I say a couple weeks. Crazy millennium lingo. Yeah. I mean, it's just people have said that since I was young, dude. I don't know. I don't know. I'm no spring chicken anymore, dude. But um, yeah, I don't know. It's just like anything else as far as language goes. It's something that um caught on and people use as a way to express uh a trendy way to express time, right? And you don't have to use it, and I understand why you might not want to, but it's just a spring chicken. What about a summer chicken? I'm actually probably more of a winter chicken, you know, because I've got all that winter weight and I can't get rid of it, so I'm more of a winter chicken. Actually, that's why I'm not a spring chicken. I've converted into a winter chicken. Yeah. Retro video games are a waste of everyone's time and money, by the way. The reader worries that retro gaming is becoming more mainstream and is encouraging publishers to take less risks in terms of making new games. I'm going to read this and we'll talk about this, okay? I have watched the circus surrounding PS Plus Premium with some amusement for the last few weeks, and like everyone, I've been confused as to why it seems so rushed and poorly thought out. I was curious only out of general interest, though, and not because I had any intention of paying for it. I realized a long time ago that I have no interest in retro games, and I'm genuinely surprised to find anyone else does. Well, again, I mean, any kind of lingo or trendy kinds of terms, whatever, it's just something that comes along, and that's the way it works, man. You know, either it's just like a sign of the times, dude, and um, it's like, I mean, so gamer, have you heard of the expression drip? I mean, it's just like that, right? Like that's one that's like a newer expression for somebody like being pretty, fashionable and stuff. Wearing looking really good, looking really trendy. Got that drip, dude. You heard that one? That's just the way it works, man. It's a sign of the times. It's oh, I got. I can't, dude. Bro. Wait. Well, I mean, again, yeah. I mean, it's just a, I mean, it can be. It's like every generation kind of has their thing, right? It's like, and it's just trends, dude. Just trends. Guess I used it wrong. Well, it depends on how you're looking at it. God. Oh, dude, that was perfect. No, you did. It was perfect. You used it. It was perfect. That was good. God, dude. Oh man. I mean, it's just like the terms like even from back like radical, stuff like sounds quite sus, dude. Yeah. I mean, there were adults back. It was like, you know, I'm sure it's from generation to generation, and it's there are always going to be new words that are used by younger generations that are become trendy, and that's just the way it works. It's not always something that is adapted by uh, the adults, and I don't know. It is what it is, man. Not always gonna incorporate it into our language as we get older and understand why it has become what it is, and that's just language, though, man. It's just being trendy. These kids these days. Um, I was only curious out of a general interest, though, and not because I had any intention of paying for it. I realized a long time ago that I have no interest in retro games, and I'm genuinely surprised to find anyone else does. A lot of it is nostalgia. I realized that, but I remember when Microsoft started pushing backwards compatibility, and I was excited to put it in some of my old OG Xbox discs, see how they looked, and I wish I hadn't because it killed my sense of nostalgia over them. In short, they looked terrible, and in general, they played worse even with enhancements. I'm not surprised that PS Plus Premium has relatively few PlayStation 1 and 2 titles, as games from that era just do not stand up. As far as I'm concerned, I think that's perfectly understandable given their age and how quickly the games industry moves on, but rather than actually doing that, it seems like we're spending more and more time looking backwards, and I don't like it. One of the arguments I've seen is that the industry in general doesn't take enough care of its old games, and the current obsession is making up for lost time. That's true to a degree, but the only reason Microsoft started going on about backwards compatibility is that, especially pre-Game Pass, they had nothing else going on, with most of the Xbox One era devoid of big-name games. And in terms of remasters and remakes, well, it's obvious why companies do that. Remasters are cheap and remakes have a built-in audience that ensure the game will always be a hit to at least a certain degree. In other words, retro mean easy money and minimum effort, which is the perfect combination as far as any business is concerned. But I worry that it's starting to have an increasingly negative effect on gaming in terms of being able to move on to new ideas and make things that are just more than just sequels or rehashes. Selling a new idea or IP is always more difficult than one that already exists, and yet rather than trying to figure out cost-effective ways to try new things, publishers are just busy working out ways to rehash existing games even more than they already have. Tradition is such a damaging concept to innovation, and I think this came to a head with the Starfield reveal recently. Devea! Devea with that raid. That's so loud. I can't talk over that.
Devea's raiding with 6 viewers.
What's up, Devea? Yo, thank you for the raid, my friend. How was your stream? If you guys aren't familiar with Devea, Devea is a friendo of the community and a content creator, obviously. So, been playing for some Need for Speed Heat. Go check out Devea's channel, please. Just linked it in chat. Throw a follow if you don't mind, and show some of that outsider love, please. All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Devea. It's good to see you, my friend. Thank you very much for the raid. Tradition, everybody from Devea's channel, welcome in, welcome in. We're doing video gaming news right now. It was good. I'm tired. Good. I'm glad it was a good stream. Glad it was a good stream. How's the family, my friend? How's the family? We're doing video gaming news right now, and then we'll be working our way into The Witcher 3, day 11 of The Witcher 3. Tradition is such a damaging concept to innovation. I think this came to a head with the Starfield reveal recently, where everyone was let down by how similar the games still seem to be to ancient Skyrim. Rather than making a brand new game, Bethesda has made the same old game just with a new hat on. The excuses are already in place. I can already predict they'll be saying things like, we wanted to make sure players still had familiar gameplay they could latch onto, or something similar. Or, Todd Howard saying, it just works. Yeah, for sure, Devea. If you want to collect old Super Nintendo cartridges or import obscure Saturn games, I totally get that. That's not really what I'm complaining about. Although I still wouldn't do it personally. Yeah, see, this person seems like they are not like a traditional, old school like gamer, you know? Oh, my family's great. Yeah, thanks for asking, my friend. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we're doing good. We're doing good. Doing well. Yep, just trying to enjoy the summertime, man. What frustrates me is I'm glad yours as well too. What frustrates me is companies spending a significant amount of their time and money bringing back old games that really have nothing to teach us today and are just making it harder and harder to have any new classics. Really? I'll finish reading this and then we'll have a discussion here. We're at the point now where The Last of Us is getting a remake less than 10 years since it first. That's a decade, dude. Less than 10 years since it first came out, and despite already having a perfectly good remaster. Just leave it alone. If you want to catch up on the story, it's still perfectly playable, and if you're all about the gameplay, which I can't imagine is the case with a game like that, The Last of Us Part 2 is already better. Many are rightly upset that Naughty Dog is wasting their time on revamps that don't need to be made. I do kind of agree with that. While contemplating making a third game or bringing back Uncharted, just make something new for heaven's sake. Of course, it's not just Naughty Dog either, but every company, from EA going back to games like Dead Space, that weren't even particularly big the first time around. Dead Space is hugely popular. It might not have been one of those games that caught on right away, but it is insanely popular nowadays. So them going back and making a new Dead Space, there has been huge outcry for a new Dead Space game for a long time now. To Nintendo endlessly recycling old Mario and Zelda games. They will never quit. You know why? Because people will continue to buy these. That's why Nintendo always makes more Mario and Zelda games, because people want them and people buy them. Why would you not? This person's complaining about somebody making a good business decision. You know what I mean? Um, it always seems like making something new is the absolute last option. As publishers desperately scrape every barrel they can find until they finally admit they have to do something new, and it is getting worse. The more retro gaming is idolized, the less urgency there is in making anything else. I don't know that I entirely agree here. Have we seen a trend of developers going and absolutely? We've absolutely seen a trend of this, right? Grabbing games that are loved and turning them into remakes, for sure, right? There's been a lot of that, but I don't think most people are upset about that. At the same time, to say that nobody's making new titles, that is absurd. Tango started to make Evil Within 3 and pivoted and turned it into Ghostwire Tokyo, which is a completely new iteration. I agree, Wick. I agree. I agree. So to say that all these developers are nobody's making new games, that's false. That's false. Here's one of the things, though. I do think that there is more hesitation on the part of developers to create new IPs because they're scared. Because we, as the consumer, we as gamers, we have been duped too many times now to where we don't get hyped about new games the way we used to, right? It doesn't matter what you show us anymore, right? We're always going to be a little bit sketched out about what you might be bringing to the table, okay? So it obviously is a little bit easier for developers to go grab older titles that are well loved and turn that into something that can be a little bit more anticipated than a brand new IP that nobody knows anything about and we're going to be pretty skeptical of because we have no idea what we're getting into and what you're going to be bringing to the table for us, right? But to say that nobody's making new games anymore, that's a bit rough. That's a bit rough. So I disagree with some of what this article is saying. This also seems like somebody that has no real love for vintage games, which I do. I love brand new games. I love vintage games. And I can I have great respect for everything along that entire timeline, right? Uh, well, yeah, gamer. That's what I've I was just talking about that earlier today. Like, had I, you know, known then, like back when I was younger, what I know now, that there are so many titles out there that I would have bought and never touched. I would have never unwrapped them or anything like that. I'd have just held on to them, dude. I would have held on to multiple copies. That way I could have one for myself forever, just to because I'm a collector. And then I would have sold the other ones and made a lot of money, dude. Yeah. Well, we've talked about that a lot. Also, Katari is the fact that um, I, the industry has gotten so scummy when it comes to the mechanics of trying to suck as much money out of us as the consumer as possible. Instead of looking at us, most of the time, developers, especially these developers that have gotten very big, instead of continuing to look at us as fans of theirs, as well as their consumer, right? That's all they look at us as is money anymore, right? And we've talked about that a lot, and I've brought up that point as well. What you kind of hit on there is, I mean, whether you talk about incorporating pay to play, pay to win, microtransaction shops, um, even to the point of DLC, right? Because here's the thing: there's been a big transition from over the years of even what DLC is, right? To where there used to be a big difference between what an expansion was and what DLC was. And now that's very, very, it's not necessarily like that anymore. Everybody just refers to everything like DLC. And we've talked about that a lot to where, like, it feels really bad and it feels very, very scummy whenever a game comes out. You pay 60, maybe even $70 for it nowadays because they're increasing the cost of games whenever they come out now. And then 3 weeks to a month down the line, they're like, oh, hey, we just dropped a bunch of DLC for the game, and you're going to pay another 40 to $50 for that DLC. And you can't tell me that content for the game wasn't ready on the game's release, right? That feels terrible. That feels terrible. I've talked about that a lot, dude. So, yeah, I agree. Um, Well, I mean, it's just a transaction shop in general. Yeah, whatever. I mean, it's just I say micro because it's just part of the lingo that has been put into my gaming language. But yeah, I mean, there are all different ways in which sucking more money out of people has been incorporated into the gaming industry. It's very and especially when it comes to things like loot boxes, pay to win, pay to progress, that kind of stuff. It's very exploitative. You know what I mean? It takes advantage of people very easily. And it's very much along the lines of gambling quite often, especially with the loot box stuff and the gotcha stuff, things like that. Yeah, yeah. It just yeah. Again, it's just because of how long I've been gaming and stuff. The whole micro because it used to be referred always as micro transactions. It's just become part of my lingo or my language for the gaming stuff. But you're right. It's not micro. I mean, we saw where people were having to spend an absolutely absurd amount of money just to get like one in-game item for Diablo Immortal, right? And that's the thing that sucks is, we quite often talk about like what would it take to, end that kind of stuff in the industry that we love so much, which is gaming. And it's like a united front. You can't support, right? And this is what I try to get across to people. It's not just supporting in a monetary fashion. If you play a game, even if it's free to play or whatever, that's why I won't play a Blizzard game right now. I won't do it. It doesn't matter if it's free to play or not. I won't play a Blizzard game because even playing a game as free to play, I show up as a contributing number to their their servers, right? I am a number that contributes to show that I am somebody that is um, taking part in their games, their world, or whatever, right? Um, PlayStation Stars. Yeah, I read something about what was that? What was? Oh yeah, yeah. That's their PlayStation Store stuff where they're saying it has nothing to do with NFTs. It's just play to earn. Yeah, we read about it in the news, gamer. Yeah, we read about it in the news probably like 3 or 4 days ago, I think. Yep, PlayStation Stars. Yeah. Um, so I mean, for me, I'm at the point with a few different companies where I'm just really, really fed up. Blizzard's definitely one of them. Where, you know, that's the thing that's really tough is to get across to people is like if we continue to support these terrible, terrible, terrible developers, it'll never stop, right? But it's like, how do you get everybody on a united front to say, uh, it's virtually impossible, right? It's virtually impossible to get everybody on a united front because obviously Diablo Immortal was not built for the regular user to play. It was built for whales. It was a game built for people with a lot of money, a lot of excess money to just go in and play, and people that don't worry about money. That's what it was. It's what it is. And unfortunately, it worked. Unfortunately, it worked. Yeah, and it just showed the rest of the gaming developers out there that don't care about the industry, what the industry is actually supposed to be about, which is creating. Obviously, it's a business, right? But at the core of what gaming has always been is it's supposed to be something that is fun, relaxing, immersive, and yes, it should make some money for the developers as well. But it showed what Diablo Immortal did was showed other developers that aren't focused on bringing quality products to the table that you can just push out a product that cares nothing other than making money and it can potentially work. Granted, they developed a product, they did it in the right way to scam people of money. They did it in the right way. Good gameplay, good enough gameplay. I'll say that. Good enough gameplay to suck people in and keep them playing and want to spend money on the game. You have to do that at the very least. So, I don't know. It feels bad. I hate it. And for me personally, I just. My hope is that Microsoft buys Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, and tears that company all the way down and rebuilds it and turns it into something decent again. At this point, I won't play anything else from them. I won't touch another Blizzard game. And Blizzard is a huge, huge, huge piece of who I am as a gamer. From Warcraft, Warcraft 2, StarCraft, Diablo 2. I mean, I played so many of their games, so many hours of their games as a kid, and I absolutely cannot stand them now. And it sucks to say that. It sucks to say that. Yeah, so the PlayStation Stars stuff, and this is the thing we hit on. 1 second. Okay, sorry guys. PlayStation Stars stuff is apparently where it's like play to earn, kind of, right?
We were on a break!
Wick, I knew that was gonna be you, dude. It's like play to earn, and everything we read about is like it's basically like earning points the more you play and stuff like that. You can earn points to buy different in-game items or stuff for your profile or whatever. But they're going to be no, it's not NFTs, it's not blockchain stuff. You don't have to worry. It's not part of that. My worry here is that like because there's a lot of disdain for NFT stuff, right? And oh, nice, dude, nice. Um, it's really easy for a company to say, "Hey, we're coming out with this," but it's going to have nothing to do with blockchain or Web3 or NFTs or anything, so they don't get any bad publicity, right? They don't have to deal with any kind of backlash on it. And then after it comes out, go, okay, let's turn it into NFT stuff. That's what worries me. That's what worries me. I hope they don't, but there's always that possibility for them to go, Well, we talked about it after we released it, and it just made sense for us to go ahead and turn it into that, from a business standpoint. Whenever you know from the get go, if they do that, from the get go that's what they had in mind, right? So I hope they don't. Um, but we'll see what happens with it, gamer. But thanks for bringing it up, man. Yeah, we read about it a few days ago. This is the last article I have for today. If anybody has anything else they would like to add or bring up that maybe you're not sure if we've hit on it or could be pertinent to the news segment, the industry that we love so much, bring it to my attention in chat and we'll discuss it before we move on this morning, okay? This is the last one I have. So if nobody brings anything else up, we'll move on to Witcher Day 11 after this. Witcher 3 Day 11. Worldwide PC market had sharpest decline in 9 years in second quarter of 2022. Research firm says fall driven by geopolitical, economic, and supply chain challenges. In a new report, the company said PC shipments total 72 million units in quarter two, representing 12.6% decline from the same period in 2021. It said the PC market's sharpest decline in almost a decade was driven by geopolitical, economic, and supply chain challenges affecting all regional markets. The EMEA PC market experienced the biggest decline in PC shipments with a decline of 18%, followed by the US, where shipments fell 17.5%. Quote, the decline we saw in the first quarter of 2022 has accelerated in the second quarter, driven by the ongoing geopolitical instability caused by the Russian invasion of Ukraine, inflationary pressure on spending, and a steep downturn in demand for Chromebooks, said Makako Kitagawa, research director at Gartner. Quote, supply chain disruptions also continued, but the major cause of PC delivery delays changed from component shortages to logistics disruptions. Enterprise buyers continue to experience longer PC delivery times than usual, but the lead times began to improve by the end of the second quarter, partially because key cities in China reopened in the middle of the quarter. To maintain profits as inflation increases costs, the PC industry is having to raise average selling prices despite weakened demand. The reduction in the mix of PCs from Chromebooks, which tend to have low price points, and shift to premium products also helped increase the average ASP. However, an increase in inventory, especially in the consumer channel, would cause an ASP decline as vendors will try to lower inventory. In a separate report released this week, data analytics firm Ampere Analysis forecast that the worldwide games content and service market will decline by 1.2% in 2022 to $188 billion. $188 billion. U.S. consumer spending on video game hardware, content, and accessories in 2022 is forecast to reach $55.5 billion, a decline of 8.7% compared to last year, according to research firm the MPD Group, which is due to release its latest monthly sales report on Friday. So here's the deal. We know that there has been a decline, right? And I would say it wasn't hard to see this coming as we worked our way out of the big as we worked our way out of the worst part of what the pandemic had to offer us, as far as most people having to work from home and everybody kind of just staying at home, other than having critical things they had to move outside of the home for, things like that. And we've seen that happen over the past year, slowly rolling out, right? Life has gotten back to normal-ish, quite to a great extent over what it was the year before, for sure, right? And what we've seen is from the beginning of 2021 up to this point of 2022, the video game industry in particular has declined to roughly 20% profit-wise. Now, it is still very profitable, but from the profit that was experienced at the beginning of 2021 to the profit that is being experienced at this point right now, currently, it's been a drop of roughly 17 to 20% profit. So it also makes sense that, to an extent, PC stuff is also going to have dropped as well. Again, part of that is just going to be a result of life getting back to some semblance of normalcy in regards to the pandemic, right? People are going back to the office for work. People are not staying home as much. Life is getting back to normal a little bit. And therefore, not as much time is being spent in games, online communities, things like that. So there's still a lot of profit in the gaming industry, but it's just not as profitable as it was the year previous. That's what I've got, guys. That's what I've got. Thanks to everybody that was part of the news segment today. I appreciate the input, conversation. I enjoy it very much. If you are checking this out on YouTube later and you're enjoying the content, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and potentially leave me a comment so we can have some discussion regarding some of these topics, okay? Also, see what you can do about coming and hanging out with us at 6 o'clock a.m. CST every single day, where we start off all of our streams with video gaming news before we move into our gaming stuff, okay? Other than that, just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow for July 19th edition of Video Gaming News. All right?